Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we've got an early impression video on a scent that gets almost no talk in Fragcom. None. I think there's one video on YouTube and it's 1 minute long. And this scent is under the radar, extremely under the radar. Even people that really know perfume and live and breathe it don't talk about this fragrance. It's not very well known, let's say. But I want to change that. I want to put this on dead smack on the radar, if you will. And what we're going to talk about today is a scent from a brand called 555 Perfumery. And the name of the scent is called Black Leather Jesus. And oh boy, does that name actually sum up the scent pretty damn good. So before we get started though, as has been happening lately, and I've been kind of prioritizing these that have fallen in my lap this way, about a year ago, Jonathan from Jonathan 1970 sent me this. And this is a decant of Black Leather Jesus, and I've been playing with this periodically. And then this fell in my lap, and I figured, you know what? When multiple people send me something, I do forget who sent me this little vial here. I do apologize. But whoever you are, thank you. When multiple people send me the same scent, I think, oh, okay, it's time to talk about it. So, that out of the way, let's talk about the scent itself. So first of all, it is exactly what you think it is. This is a BDSM leather scent. There's no other way to describe it. It is a BDSM leather. It is rough, raw, primal, angry, harsh, and black. Mostly black. So imagine the deepest, darkest, blackest leather you can think of. So it's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been wearing it all day. I worked from home today, and that's the reason I decided to actually do this review today as I was working from home. And so there's this harshness to this BDSM scene that I'm trying to set here. So I want you to imagine in your mind's eye this punishment. Like imagine whips and leather chaps and, you know, whips with tassels, leather tassels at the end. That's the image that this scent portrays. It's slightly smoky, and the thing about the fragrance is it is literally a no fucks given perfume, okay? And I know I was going to say that I'm going to try not to curse on the channel. There's no way to get around this one. This is an out and out, no fucks given perfume, okay? Whoever made this scent, and I'll tell you the person's name. I have no clue who he is, but this scent is just straight from whatever he was feeling. He put this on paper and created a fragrance, and he hit it out of the park if this is what he was going for. And there's just no other way to emphasize the attitude of the scent than to say that it is a no fucks given perfume, okay? So, in fact, just to show you how perfect the description of what he was trying to hit is, so it says that on the 555 Perfumery website, which it's actually, if you just Google 5:55 Perfumery, you'll find it, if you will. And he says that this is a sweaty, worn leather, smoky, bloody rose. That is the description. Sweaty, worn leather, smoky, bloody rose. Okay? And the sweaty worn leather bit is almost a no-brainer. I mean, you don't have to read a blurb to figure that out from the name of the scent, and if you just spray it on even once, you'll know that that's exactly what they're going for. But he goes a step further with that bloody rose bit, and it could be a metaphor for so many things. I'll leave that to you, the viewer, and whatever you can think of to decide on there. But use your imagination. There's a lot of metaphors for the bloody rose if you want to go there. But I guess I should define who he is, this perfumer that I keep talking about. And so he is a gentleman named Scott Kindberg is his name. And Scott Kindberg is a self-proclaimed, self-taught perfumer. And he's also a band member in a band. And can you guess what the band is called? It is called Black Leather Jesus is the band. And it's a Pittsburgh-based band. If you're interested in checking out the music, I have not yet, but I can assume I know the genre. And he basically says that he wants to create this tribute to this dark, loud, almost dirty noise music that he loves, as he puts it. So dark, loud, dirty noise music that he loves so much. So the mood and the feeling of the fragrance to me is, I think of 1990s Nirvana. I think of Kurt Cobain wearing like a dirty flannel, right? 1990, he was probably a multimillionaire by then because Bleach had already came out, but he's still wearing his dirty flannel, and his hair is still in his face, and his jeans are still dirty, and he's still wearing the shoes with holes in them. And that's the scene that I think of, right? This grunge-like scene. And that's the way this fragrance makes me feel. It makes me feel like I'm back in the 90s listening to Nirvana, which I did as a kid. I don't have an official note listing from the brand, okay? But I will say that my guess is that along with this harsh, dark, sort of angry leather is some spices. There's definitely some sort of spices that mix with the leather, because it feels like a spicy, dark leather. That's sort of my guess, is that there's some sort of spicy bit going on mixing with the leather as well. And I don't know what those spices are, but that's just my guess. And there's probably some sort of labdanum is my guess, because there's this sort of, as the fragrance begins to dry, it starts to turn a little bit more resinous, but the resinous quality does mix very well with the black leather. It never loses the theme. It never loses the plot. Even though it's an insane plot, it never loses that plot. It sticks to the plot beautifully, if you will. And I would guess that because of that resinousness, there is this labdanum bit. And I love labdanum, so I have no problem with the fact that it turns slightly labdanum-like. And I would guess there's probably the usual suspects. I don't know, but I'm guessing. I just made notes of things like vetiver, patchouli, and vanilla is my guess, probably what we're getting here. And the one thing that does really stand out, and that I really do want to highlight, though, if I want to put a kind of an asterisk next to something, I would say that there's a bit of this birch tar like feeling to the fragrance. There's this birchiness that mixes with the leather. And birch tar and leather go hand in hand, so it's no surprise that there's this birchiness to it. But what should be a little bit surprising is the way that the birch tar is used. The birch tar here is used in huge abundance, I would say. If you've smelled... Here, let me just grab a fragrance real quick. If you've smelled this... This is, I think, the fragrance of the year. It's still 2023. It's May of 2023. I have yet to come across anything that has been released that I think can knock this off of its throne. I think this is going to be the fragrance of the year for me. And this is called Descendres by Les Abstraits. And Descendres is an Antoine Lee creation. And Descendres has this very tarry, resinous-like feel. Okay, so if you've smelled Descendres, or if you've smelled fragrances that use this birch tar, I think there's also pine tar in here, but imagine multiple types of tars, and just imagine what a tar, like note would smell like in a fragrance like Black Leather Jesus, mixed with leather and labdanum. So leather, labdanum, and birch tar, and maybe other types of tar. I think the pine tar resin is much more prominent in something like Descendres. Maybe there's some pine tar resin or something like that in here, but I don't get it as much. I get more of like this birch tar smokiness, okay? And birch tar is used in things like Russian leather fragrances and stuff like that. But imagine this sort of smoky, resinous birch tar blended beautifully with what no doubt is the star of the show, and that is this dangerous leather. This sort of so the word that comes to mind for me is like nightlife. Okay, so imagine sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? That's what comes to mind for me when I smell this. There's this danger involved, these risky activities, in sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? And yet there is still this appeal, like a moth to a flame, right? That some people it's just the risky aspect in general. It gets their heart pumping and they're attracted to taking risks and being dangerous with their life choices, right? And others may participate in the nefarious activities we're discussing for any reason, who knows why, but they're drawn to that danger, right? There's a little bit of that aspect in this scent. There's a little bit of that lived experience, this dangerous lived experience, let's say, of playing shows in smoky bars and grungy atmospheres and stuff like that. And what comes to mind is that I just imagine this pitch black leather, just imagine the blackest leather you can think of. But it's not new, it's worn. It's worn, played on stage, beer has been spilled on it. People have spit on it or whatever it may be, sweated in it. That's the leather feel to this scent. And along with all of this comes a smokiness. And the smokiness, if you've ever been in like a dingy club or a bar, or maybe, back when they used to allow smoking back inside of bars, or if you've ever been inside a bar where a band is playing and there is this hazy smokiness because they actually have a smoke machine, and it just sort of lingers in the air. The smoke machine pushes the smoke out, but there's nowhere for it to go because it's an enclosed bar, and so it just sort of like lingers in the air, right, while the band is playing. But it doesn't feel like tobacco smoke. I don't want you to get it confused with this tobacco smoke. It's not like somebody in there smoking a cigarette. It's not like you're smelling stale cigarette smoke or anything like that. It's more this almost like it's frankincense. I would guess there's probably a little bit of frankincense in here. But it doesn't smell like incense. It doesn't smell like the incense that you're used to smelling in an amouage or something like that. The incense here is completely different. It almost just gives this air of smokiness to the scent. How he pulled that off, I honestly don't know. But he did. And he created this scent that the smoke just feels like this general haziness. So imagine you're in this dark, dimly lit bar. There's shady characters all around you, drinking, smoking, screaming, watching the band play. That's the atmosphere. That's the feeling of this scent. Nightlife, right? True nightlife. And the place has this just sort of this atmosphere about it. This aura about it, let's say. And that's sort of what the smoke composition, that's what the smoke adds to the composition. In general, I honestly don't think the scent would be as interesting or as, I don't think it would hit home as much if it wasn't for that perfectly done smoke note. While the leather is still the star of the show, that dangerous leather, as I call it, is still the star of the show. That smoke note adds this dynamic or element that is just, not... it's not something that would feel complete without it, is what I'm trying to say. So there's very few perfumes that this can be compared to, but there actually is one that came to mind. There's one fragrance that really came to mind, and I happen to have a review on it because for me there's just this roughness, this harshness. My very first inclination when I smelled this, and I tried to think about, have I ever smelled anything like this? Yes, I have. And the fragrance that came to mind, believe it or not, is a Bertrand Duchaufour creation. And believe it or not, if you go find my video, it's in one of these exact same vials because Jonathan 1970 sent it to me as well. And it was called Corpus Equus by the house of Naomi Goodsir. And Corpus Equus was a fragrance that only came out a couple years ago. It was a Bertrand Duchaufour creation. And that's probably the closest thing I've ever smelled to black leather Jesus. And like I said, I do have a video on Corpus Equus if you want to go check that out. And so one thing I will say, though, when I really started to think about it, I think I might enjoy black leather Jesus even more than Corpus Equus, which is quite, as I was really thinking about me saying that, it's quite the accomplishment when you think about the fact that Corpus Equus is a Bertrand Duchaufour creation, and this is made from some guy who plays in a band who's a self-taught perfumer. I I got to give him his props on this one. He made a hell of a fragrance, hell of a fragrance. There's actually a place called Ministry of Scent. It's a website, Ministry of Scent. Now that I'm seeing this Ministry of Scent, Rachel may have sent me this. This may have been a Rachel. This may have been a Rachel may have sent this to me. Now that I'm thinking about it, well, if it was Rachel, thank you very much, Rachel. But it's been a fun fragrance to wear as my scent of the day. I don't think I'll pursue it any further than that, though. I'll tell you that. It's kind of one of those things. As you guys know, leather is my favorite genre, so this is glorious for me to try. I've enjoyed wearing it. It is summer, though. I mean, it's May, so I guess it's technically still spring, but it feels like summer here in Texas. It's like 90 degrees here in Texas already, and so it's hot, so I'm staying inside most of the day wearing this. But this is definitely probably a cooler weather scent for the most part. I wear my fragrances anytime, any place now. I don't worry about seasons any longer for the most part. Unless I want to, if I want to be season specific because I'm going to work or something like that, I may think about it. But now I just wear whatever I want, whenever the hell I want. But for most people, this is going to be a fall winter scent for sure because of that thick, heavy, smoky leather. It's a very birchy, smoky leather. And I think for most people, this would be extremely challenging. I actually enjoyed wearing this. It wasn't super challenging for me, but as a leather lover that smelled a lot of different types of leathers, I think I have a little bit of a leg up there. If you are newer to the leather game, or if leather is just one of those notes that you have a hard time dealing with, if you don't like smelling the IBQ fragrances or anything like that, you can just probably take a pass on this one, because this is leather, 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 and there's a little bit of this charred, smoky aspect to it too, which I think that's one of the things that I ended up liking even more than Corpus Equus. Is the smoked wood element in Corpus Equus kind of put me off, and I like the way that the smoky element in Black Leather Jesus was done. So I will tell you this. It was fun to wear. The slogan, if you go to 555 Perfumery, interestingly enough, the website and image basically says it all. So here's the official slogan of the scent. It says, "The scent of harsh noise." That's the slogan. So the slogan of Black Leather Jesus is "the scent of harsh noise." I would agree. I mean, I think it makes perfect sense. But if you look at the picture, if you go to 555 Perfumery website and you look at the picture of, when you click on Black Leather Jesus, there's a picture of a man and he is facing away from the camera. So you're looking at his backside and he's wearing chaps. He's wearing assless chaps. Okay. So he's literally wearing black leather assless chaps with black gloves on, facing away from the camera. So all you see is his ass and the leather chaps, with a bottle of Black Leather Jesus right next to it. And it's, it's actually I would say it's the perfect image for this scent, because that's exactly what this is. This is a BDSM leather scent insanity. It is absolutely insanity. But it's not bad. 30 mils is $55, so it's not super overpriced either. I bet you could find 100 mils for about $100 if you look hard enough. So yeah, inspired by the harsh noise act of the same name, I sought out to create a scent that invokes their presence. He must be talking about his album, because I think they had a album called Black Leather Jesus as well. Anyways, interesting stuff. I love getting to know these little fragrances no one else is talking about. I love doing videos and bringing this stuff to YouTube that, again, very few people are talking about. And I think this is one that, for a perfume lover, if you liked Corpus Equus especially, if you like Naomi Goodsir fragrances, this is definitely one to put in your sample. It's not a must-buy or anything like that, but it should be to sniff. Put it on your to sniff list, especially if you're going through leather fragrances. This is a good one. This is a good modern leather fragrance. It's very oily, almost machine-like leather, I should mention. I forgot to mention that. There's almost this machine element to it. You know how they used to have a store. God, I wish I could remember the name of it. Um, they used to have a store in the Arlington Mall when I was in high school. And it was like, oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. But long story short is they used to sell these jackets that looked like high school leather jackets. And they had like, you know, patches and stuff like that on it. And they sold them for super cheap. It was like Henry and Jack's or Henry and Henry's or Jack and Henry's. Or I can't remember the name. Either way, the point of the story is they used to sell these they were actually pretty decent quality, but they were extremely cheap cost-wise. For some reason, I have no clue how. And they went out of business, shocker. But they would sell these pretty nice jackets for like $10, but 10, 15, 20 bucks. But when you got them, it smelled like leather. I mean, sorry, let me take that back. It smelled like machine oiled leather. So like the leather that was, it was probably pleather or whatever, but whatever, you know, the Leatherman jackets where the leather on the sleeve, or the sleeve is leather feeling and the front is like, you know, cottony or whatever. And you would smell the sleeve and it would have this extreme harsh machine-like leather smell to it. That's the smell of the leather in this fragrance. Yeah, it's very interesting. I can't say I've smelled a leather fragrance exactly like this, and I don't know why this doesn't get more talk. Probably the advertising is a little weird, I'll tell you that. The assless chaps, that may put some people off, but if you're interested in indie niche perfumery that does things a little different, I mean, I would say give Black Leather Jesus a shot. Give it a shot. It's interesting to say the least. So if you've smelled Black Leather Jesus, I would love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment. I try to respond to every single comment. You know, I'm still small enough where I can do that. So leave a comment. I will write back. And I appreciate everyone's support, watching, commenting, all the things that you do. It's been an amazing first year and a half of doing this. And I know that these individual reviews aren't going to get the clicks of the, you know, lists and all that stuff. But I think it's important to bring these type of fragrances to the spotlight, if you will. So thanks everyone again for watching. Cheers, guys. Hope to see you in the comments, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.